Hi, I'm immigration attorney Ali Subhan, recipient of the Best Immigration Lawyer Award and Legal Innovator Award. In this video, you will learn about the E-2 visa, including the E-2 visa requirements and the step-by-step process on how to apply for an E-2 visa. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We're going to be publishing new videos every week. Ring the bell so you get notifications every time we release a new video. So you may be asking, what is an E-2 visa? The E-2 visa is an investor visa that allows you to invest a substantial amount of capital in starting or purchasing a business in the USA. The United States has entered into treaties with different countries. These treaties promote trade and commercial ties between the two countries. If you are a national of a country that has such a treaty with the United States, then you can obtain an E-2 visa to work in the US in order to develop and direct your investment in your business. Countries such as Argentina, Australia, Bangladesh, Chile, Colombia, France, Israel, Japan, Jordan, Egypt, Singapore, Mexico, Canada, Spain, Italy, Switzerland, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and many more countries are eligible for an E-2 visa. See the description below for a list of all eligible E-2 visa countries. Now, there are four main E-2 visa requirements that you must meet to be eligible to apply for an E-2 visa. 1. You must be from a country that has a treaty of commerce or bilateral trade agreement with the U.S. 2. You must invest a substantial amount of capital. 3. You must have at least 50% ownership in the business. And 4. You must generate more than a marginal income. This means that you must generate enough income to make a significant economic contribution within the U.S. economy or provide a sufficient living for you and your family. Also, your investment must be at risk, meaning that there is a possibility that you could partially or fully lose your investment. Now, there is no set minimum investment amount required by law, but generally it is recommended that you aim to have at least $100,000 to invest. However, the amount of investment will depend on the type of business, geographic location, market conditions, and other industry standards. Now let's review the step-by-step process on how to apply for your E-2 visa. The first step is choosing whether to start your own business, start a franchise, or purchase an existing business. All of these options are available to you under an E-2 visa. Here are some things you should consider when making your decision. If you are buying a business, you will want to look at the number of employees and the viability of the business. A business's viability is measured by its ability to sustain profits over a period of time. You'll want to look at previous tax returns and perform other due diligence to determine a business's viability. For example, request a list of accounts receivables, a list of intellectual property, a list of assets, perform an inspection on any property, etc. The three main things to consider when buying a business under an E-2 visa are 1. The number of employees and future potential to expand. 2. The business's profitability and its sustainability. And 3. Whether the business would require financing. If the business requires financing, then debts secured by personal assets or a loan for which the investor is personally responsible may be included in the investment. Now, one of the most difficult aspects of securing an E-2 visa is investing a substantial sum of money, often $100,000 or more, in purchasing a business before knowing that the E-2 visa will be granted. However, the U.S. government requires that the E-2 investment occur prior to filing the application. You face two risks with an E-2 visa. 1. Commercial risk that the business may fail. And 2. Procedural risk that you may be denied your visa. Now, a good immigration attorney can help you to mitigate these risks as much as possible. One way to mitigate your risk is through an E-2 compliant escrow agreement. An escrow agreement permits the investor to place the monies used to purchase the business or asset in escrow. The release of the funds is contingent solely on the approval of the E2 visa. Once the E2 visa is approved, the funds are then transferred from an escrow agent to the seller. If the visa is denied, the monies in escrow would be returned to the investor. Escrow agreements are used when buying a restaurant or retail store, for example. Now, your second option for an E2 visa is starting a franchise. Franchises are an excellent option for an E2 investor. The benefits of investing in a franchise are: 1. U.S. embassies and consulates are favorable to franchise investments. 2. You will receive an extensive amount of financial information and other marketing materials that you can supply with your application. 3. A franchise provides you with systems, processes, and training to be successful. And 4. The entry cost may be more reasonable compared to buying an existing business. Also, the franchise fee can be included as part of the E2 investment. You should consider 3 things if you want to start a franchise. 1. Review the franchise agreement with your lawyer to ensure that you will meet the E2 visa requirements. 2. Make sure that the franchise allows for sales to E2 visa applicants. And 3. Select a franchise that will create jobs in the U.S. Franchises offer you the opportunity to start a business in many different industries, including restaurants, cleaning services, fitness, wellness and beauty, fast food, property management, and many more. Are you thinking about starting a franchise in the USA? Let me know in the comments below what kind of franchise that you are interested in and why. Now, your third option for an E2 visa is starting your own business. Let me know in the comments below if you're thinking about starting your own business. Starting your own business will involve forming a business entity, opening a bank account, leasing office space, buying equipment, developing a website, obtaining a federal employment tax identification number from the Internal Revenue Service, also known as the IRS, hiring employees, getting an accountant or bookkeeper, marketing the company, and much more. For more information on how to start your business in the USA as a non-citizen, watch my other video in the description below. Now, the second step in the E2 visa process is forming a business entity and opening your business bank account. You can set up an LLC or corporation. However, LLCs are very common and offer ease of use, flexibility, and avoid double taxation. Before making your entity selection, discuss the specifics of your case with your attorney and tax advisor. Once you've formed your business, then you'll need to open up your business's bank account. You will need a bank account to operate the E2 company, and it will serve as an essential part of the E2 visa application. You may be wondering, can I set up my E2 company before my E2 visa is approved? And the answer is yes. You are allowed to form a company and open a business bank account in the U.S. before your E2 visa is approved. These activities are considered setting up the business and not considered unauthorized work. However, you cannot work for the business in the United States until you receive your E2 approval and you're granted work authorization. Now, the third step in the E2 visa process is transferring your investment funds into the bank account of the E2 company. Remember, to qualify for an E2 visa, you must make a substantial investment in a U.S. business. Proving that you've made a substantial investment starts with depositing the investment funds into the business bank account. Now, the fourth step in the E2 visa process is to start spending the investment funds. This means you should begin to lease office space, purchase inventory, equipment, supplies, marketing, and other business expenses. Remember, one of the requirements of the E2 visa is that your investment funds must be at risk. It is not sufficient to just deposit the funds into the business bank account. You must also start investing those funds into business expenditures. Now remember, if you're buying a business or starting a franchise, you can transfer your money to the bank account, and then the E2 company can make the purchase through an escrow agreement contingent on your E2 approval. This is allowable and may be considered at risk. However, The same cannot be done if you're starting your own business. In this case, you will need to begin spending the funds in the company's account. Now, the final step to apply for your E-2 visa is submitting your E-2 visa application. For an E-2 visa, you will need to prepare and file a Form DS-160 with the U.S. Department of State. You will also need to gather documents to submit with your application, including your passport, evidence showing the establishment of the business, evidence of contractual agreements, wire transfers and other bank records, evidence of the source of funds, evidence of any funds held in escrow, evidence of business registration and other business documents, a business plan for a new company with a 5-year financial forecast, company's tax returns, if any, and other documents proving the business is a real and operating commercial enterprise, that the investment is substantial and more than marginal, and that you have invested or are actively in the process of investing in the business. Your immigration attorney will organize and submit all of your supporting documentation on your behalf to the U.S. Embassy or Consulate in your home country. The U.S. Embassy or Consulate will then review all your documentation and then schedule you for an E-2 visa interview. At the interview, the consular officer may ask you questions related to your investment, including, how do you plan to develop the enterprise? What are the financial projections? Where did the funds come from? How many employees does the business have, etc. Upon successful completion of the E-2 visa interview, you will be issued an E-2 visa. You can then travel in and out of the United States with your E-2 visa. I hope you consider the E-2 visa as an option for you to immigrate to the United States. I have helped numerous entrepreneurs start a business, start a franchise, or buy a business in the United States. If you have questions, contact us through the link below. If you found this video helpful, click the like button now and comment below and tell me what you found most helpful or valuable, or let me know if you have any questions, and click the subscribe button below now. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so you get notifications every time we release a new video. Watch my other videos for more helpful tips and information on immigrating to the United States. Thank you.